We've done our round tables and everything. Let's let's get to know Robin and Sean a little bit more. Thanks for hanging out for an hour while we get to this part. But this is what we do.
Look.
If you're a regular listener, you know this is what we do, and this is what we enjoy. So, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the podcast, Robin and Sean, they're actors out in Hollywood, and they've got several things under their belt. So let's start with you guys. Tell us about your careers. Let everybody get to know you a little bit.
We are working on a series, a web series, Two Cops in a Car, that we've been doing. And I see you have a little thing there for Two Cops in a Car.
Yep, check it out on YouTube.
We've taken a little bit of a hiatus, but we're hoping to film another episode within the next month. I'm hoping. We need to get back to that. But we've also been auditioning a lot for a lot of different things. Things have been kind of busy, which is good. So we're just putting ourselves out there. And Sean's doing a lot of writing. And we've just been trying to keep creative. This year's been busier than the last 2 years or 3 years for sure. So it's all good.
Yeah, last year was probably one of the better years we've had this year, in audition-wise, because the pandemic really affected everything and made everybody sort of change the way we're going to cast everything. So that was sort of a new. I think everybody was learning how to cast for films.
For everyone at home, it used to be you would get an appointment. You'd have to go into downtown, whatever their casting office was.
First you get an appointment, then you'd have to tell your boss that your grandmother died, so you couldn't come to work. Then you get in your car and go to the
you have an appointment, you have to take the time off if you're working to get there. But since the pandemic, it's like self-tapes. So they said you have 48 hours to get this tape to us, so you can kind of do it on your own time, which is great. But the bad thing is you don't get to meet them in person.
Yeah.
You don't get to get adjusted. So if you're a little bit off in what they're looking for, they can't say, okay, try it again, but do it this way. So but you get to shoot it until you're happy with it. So that's the good thing too. You can, if you make a mistake, doesn't matter. You do it again and then you submit that. And the plus is no time off of work unless you get cast. So that's kind of cool.
I think my biggest issue is the fact that it's very passive.
It kind of is.
You send it out and you just hope that somebody's watching it, or there's no mechanisms put in place to see whether or not somebody did open the file or they watched it, or there's no response to say we got it, but we're going to go somewhere else. Nothing. Yeah. It's just kind of like, but we were watching something the other day. It was a casting director. I think his name's Paul Reddy. And he said something about, he had 7 roles and he got 10,000 self-tapes. And now the 10,000 for 7 roles. And then out of those 7 roles, out of the 10,000, he called in 970 something. And so my logic was he called in 1% of the amount of people that. So if you get just an audition nowadays, it's almost a win. It really
it's kind of like winning the lottery, even getting to audition for something at this point.
But you're hoping that you get that casting director that's going to see your work and say, well, you're not right for this, but I'm going to keep that tape and put up this side, and I might call you in for something else or whatever. So I think that's a better, thing than having a picture in a file that they can scroll through and stuff.
And what we're finding happening, which is the best news of all, is like, we might not, if you don't get cast in something, a certain casting director might call you back for another project and then another project. That's a win right there. Okay. Because they're seeing something that they like. And so they're like, okay, let's find something for her or him and let's get them in.
Or they're calling in for the same show and it's a different character completely.
I've auditioned for the same show, but like 3 different episodes of it. Huh. So that's a win right there. That they're saying
to cast you.
I like her, I like him. Let's see what else they can do with this character. So
did this mechanism exist before social distancing? Or was this kind of something that was brought on after COVID?
Self-tapes were not.
Self-tapes.
Actually, they were around. I think you could send a tape. It wasn't like the practice it is now.
It is like 99% are all self-tapes now. And it used to be 80% would be in person. And
you ask for a self-tape if like you were on vacation and they really needed somebody, to do something. And you're like, well, I can send you a tape. But it was a big process to do it. Now there's so many sites that you just upload, or I mean, even the place where we submit now, it's called Actors Access, but they have EcoCast, and you just connect you tape it, you put it up, and it's done. So you can be anywhere. And that's one of the things that really bothers me too, is like stuff that was casting here in LA. If you weren't in LA, you weren't considered. But now it's worldwide. So we're competing with everybody.
Right.
It really sort of going back down to watering it down. I feel like, if they get 10,000 submissions, they're not. I don't know that they're not going to watch 10,000, but you've got to stand out in that 10,000. And so it's really, I don't know. One thing that really affected me was I'd taken classes. It was audition technique, how to work the room, and now I'm not in the room anymore. I have to try and convince them to cast me just from this small little screen that we're on right now. And they don't know me as Sean, know me as and they know me as the character that I'm playing. But I don't know. It's a different. I haven't learned to love self-tapes yet. I love auditioning. I love auditioning, and a lot of people don't. But for me, that's my role for the 5 minutes I'm in the room. But now I just feel like I don't know. And plus, we've been asked now to become editors, directors, lighting designers. I mean, you
have to have the equipment for sound, for lighting, for you have to make it look decent. You have to have a background. You don't want to submit something that looks completely
shotgun mics. Amateur, seriously, it's a production to do a self-tape.
And then they have the bonus. They can say, "It looked like you had really good equipment in there. So could you?"
I love your lighting design.
I saw this one audition where this guy auditioned in his apartment, and it was a wide shot, so you could pretty much see half of his apartment in the shot, and it showed a casting director knocking his apartment.
He's like, look at the way he lives.
Look at the way he lives. Oh my God. And the guy responded, well, if you gave me a job, maybe I could change my apartment. And I'm like,
I like
that. And I'm like, good for him. Good
well,
for him.
that's true.
I didn't know he wasn't on mute. And that's the whole thing. And also he's like, oh, I'm so sorry you heard that. And he's like, no, I'm not offended. Just give me a job.
Give me a job and I'll change it.
Yeah.
But it's been fine. Like we're kind of learning to adjust with the world and doing what we can do.
The one thing is, I think first auditions are always going to be self-tapes now.
I think that is
chemistry reads, like that's where you meet the other actors to try and get that, see if it's a good fit together. Or even callbacks. I think some of the callbacks
will be in person.
Are in person. But that first initial audition, it's just you got
just getting through that.
Yeah.
That actually kind of makes sense, especially with sites. I mean, like even like they have sites like Cameo now, where celebrities can get in there and you can just upload, talking to a fan or something like that. So it honestly doesn't surprise me that they've done that. It actually, I mean, granted, me not being in the industry and just looking at it from outside, that makes all the sense in the world to do that.
It does. It does. I just feel like I said, it turns it into how can I say this?
It's kind of passive. It is kind of like you're not sure.
I moved to LA to become an actor, and now I feel like I could be in Italy and be like, oh, I want to be an actor. Hey, look, there's an audition. I just
And well, everything in the world is becoming like that because what I do, granted, it's more IT-ish, but from what I do, I could do it from anywhere that has a decent internet connection. Everything is going that way.
And I get what you're saying is that when you're in person and you're auditioning, there's a personality that is more prevalent in a physical audition versus you on a video or on a tape. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying.
Know each other. Yeah, you just don't get to get your vibe and what you're about and who you are.
It kind of cuts that connection you can make in a way,
It's also one of those things where you don't know if you don't know me as a person, you just know me as an actor, and then I get on the set and I'm a complete actor. Pardon my language. But it could be, I can't believe we cast this guy. So you don't get to know the person, and that's where I haven't. That's where my biggest issue is. I just want to. I wish I could change it, but I can't.
I'd be willing to bet that's actually, in a way, has increased the amount of false starts that they've had. Like you get someone that on the tape looks really good, and then you get them in, and it's like you really can't act. You just rehearsed that over and over again.
Yeah.
And you just did that one part, and you really can't act. So it's like, all right, well, we flew you from New York over here to do this, and you wasted our time. Whereas you would have been able to see that immediately if you'd have been doing that in person.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like you said, you have an opportunity you can do this scene. You can keep doing it. You have the opportunity to keep oh, I don't think that went so well. Let me do it again. So that organic part of that audition is like you said, when you're not physically in the room with them. Right.
I actually auditioned for a TV show called Camping, and it was on HBO, I think. It was Lena Dunham was casting it. It was her show, and she. I went in. This was before the pandemic. I went in, auditioned, and the good thing about it was at the end of the scene, they call them tags, but they're like, okay, just they started just sort of improvising with me, and so I improv with them, which was great. I didn't get that role, but they were laughing in the room and everything like that. And so I feel like that audition, they sent me another breakdown, and the character they called me in for had no lines whatsoever. But I feel like they were like, oh, we want to give this guy something but I don't think if I would have not been in that room and did that improv, I don't know that I would have.
It got your foot in the door.
Exactly.
May not get the part, but you made an impression. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, I was telling Robin, we're auditioning for the role, we're auditioning for the casting director. So, it's, but like I said,
the casting directors, they're looking at thousands of these, at a time. And that they already have preconceived notions about it, where it's like, yes, this person was able to sit down and rehearse this over and over and over and over again. And it's going to potentially be different if we get them in here. So I need to see something spectacular before I'm even going to risk my budget getting somebody in here.
Right.
But you don't know what that spectacular is that they're looking for. You're going to do what you think is right, but it could be 180 degrees what they think, what they're looking for. But you're not going to get that note to say, oh, no. But you could take that note in the room,
Yeah.
So,
right.
It's right. And like I said, and there's pluses about self-tape. I'm not going to, I'm not going to say there aren't, but I miss, even this cast director was talking, he said, it's now very impersonal. He goes, I'm sitting in a room just looking at tapes all day. And he goes, I really don't have any interaction with anybody anymore. And it used to be, oh, I like that interaction with them.
Well, they also realized they could see, instead of shuffling people into your office, if you have people self-tape, you can watch it at 2 a.m. You can see 200 people as opposed to 20. So to them, it's like it's time efficient for them not to have you in their office.
Yeah.
So the pandemic kind of changed all that, the whole way of auditioning. But
so that's what we're doing now. What about you guys?
Let's all talk about how the pandemic changed our industries.
I know, right? But I mean, things are going well. I mean, I'm thinking, things have been good. I've auditioned for a lot. You've auditioned for a lot. It's all good. I'm not complaining.